Welcome to the live stream of consciousness. The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question, what is consciousness? Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness.
Yes, welcome. That's the big thing. Welcome, first of all, to the live stream of consciousness. It is September 12th. We just had a crazy week in the United States. Thank God I've got this night, Thursday night, to show up here and have my own space and share it with whoever's here. Welcome to Ninja Kitty. I see you out there, always supporting, and good to see you. And Tim, good to see you too. Anyway, I'm excited. What is the live stream of consciousness? Who am I? I always forget that I've got to say that for people who haven't seen this before. So my name is Michael Zinn. I'm a creative professional. I do video graphics and photography and all of that kind of stuff, but I have a amazing interest and passion for discussing things that you kind of got to go and find. Consciousness. It's you don't got to go find consciousness, but you got to find people who will talk about it with you in the way I like to talk about it. A lot of different metaphysical gifts, things like that, quantum theory, things that they're talking about what is reality, what is consciousness. That's what I do. And I get an hour a week to do it. And I get to have a great conversation with somebody who I want to have a conversation with about it. There's so many people out there talking about this stuff these days. There's a lot of people I know who have different gifts, and friends of people who have things to say and to share, and that is also a big part of the live stream of consciousness, right? I talk about it all the time, how we all have a little piece of the puzzle, and we fit nicely next to certain people, but we don't fit nicely next to other people, but we're all part of that big picture. And that's what this is about. It's about one at a time. I'm going to talk to everybody, however long it takes me. So tonight I have an amazing guest who is metaphysically gifted, works with energy, works with sound, a sound healer. I don't think I've had many sound healers on the show, so I'm excited to talk about that because that's something I'm really interested in. Cymatics is something I'm really interested in, so I want to hear what Tabytha thinks of cymatics and how sound actually affects matter. You guys have all seen that cymatic stuff. But anyway, it's my job to introduce the show, to tell you guys, if you're new here, to subscribe. I think I've been trying that thing where they tell you to comment #live or replay if you're watching live, #live if you're watching the replay, #replay. That helps me understand what's going on, who's watching this. Am I reaching anybody? Doesn't matter. I'm doing it for myself and whoever it does reach. So, but that's the business I got to do. Anyway, I am excited to welcome tonight a woman named Tabytha Polaris. She is a sound healer, Reiki practitioner, and so many other things. And somebody who I've known actually here on Long Island in the music industry. So very, very cool. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness, Tabytha Polaris.
Hello.
How you doing, Tabytha?
I'm awesome. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited that you said yes. That's one of the things. I'm so grateful for this show because it allows me to reach out to people and say, hey, you want to talk for an hour? And it's like, we haven't spoken in years, and you have changed quite a bit since we've spoken and experienced some things that I want to talk about with you. Tell us.
Or I came out of the closet a bit.
Well, you came out of the closet. Maybe you were hiding some things and
yeah.
Special talents and connections that you have. That's something I forgot to say about the live stream of consciousness. What I like about it also is the show is about everybody's got their own connection to the higher power, right? And it's how everybody expresses that connection, whether they're a psychic medium or a sound healer. And that's what I love so much, is like finding out exactly who you are and how you connect to your higher power. And that, of course, brings me to the prerequisite question that we start every show with. And that is asking you the question, what is consciousness? What are we even talking about?
That's a great question.
I love it.
I believe consciousness is everything that we are and everything that's around us. And the more that we work on expanding our consciousness, the more we're connected to source and energy and everyone around us, and we find more joy, and we expand our intuition and all our gifts, and we connect with our higher self and just live a life that's more full. And it improves relationships and how people react to you and how you perceive people and your perception. It's just amazing once you go down the rabbit hole of developing your gifts and using it to expand and help everyone around you in the world. And it just becomes a beautiful heart opening, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's the thing I love about that question, is that there's no wrong answer, right? It's everybody's experience with it. But I think, like you said, it's everything that we are. It's being aware of that we are. And I think the importance of it, and why I like to talk about it, is because I think we don't even realize that we're kind of brought up in a society that separates us from that idea of our own consciousness and the power that it has. And thankfully, I think people are waking up to
remembering. I really believe
that.
Deep in my heart that we knew this in the past.
I love that you've corrected me when we were talking before. You kind of said the same thing, and I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the atoms that make us up are ancient. We are stardust, right? So that just makes so much sense, that the information that we say we're learning and are waking up to, we always knew it. It's always there. It's just we're remembering it. I love that sentiment. So thank you for that. And again, it's all correct, right? It's all we're waking
you
up
could
to
be
it.
experiencing a different timeline, and I don't know. Everybody's having their own experience, right?
And I love that we're in a time right now where you can say something like that, at least on my show, and not be looked at like, what the hell you mean you could be in another timeline?
It's actually proven now. Like, did you hear about the many Earth theory?
Probably.
Science, you have to look that up, because scientists now have like proof that there's many versions of Earth
on different frequencies, like
multiverse.
Yeah.
It's wild. And then I'm like, well, how do we know if we jump to another Earth? How do we know? And it's really, you don't. You just, things change around you. People treat you different. It's a little subtle. I thought it'd be like, oh, there's the unicorns and dragons. I've jumped.
Like all of a sudden everything's different.
Yeah, but it's not. It's more subtle, is what I think.
Yeah. I love talking about this stuff.
I know. I'm just going to jump right in.
Yeah, well, I think what's so great about it is that it takes us out of that conditioning, like I said, that we've kind of been taught, like, we're this 3D thing and that's it. But quantum theory and quantum science is making such amazing breakthroughs that are crossing over with spiritual beliefs, and like, how do you as a physical being contemplate the idea that physical reality isn't really there, that it's just a thought, and that it's presenting itself as physical reality? Like, how do you wrap your head around that?
I wrap my head around it by, like, the spiritual part of me is the main part, and that I'm just in this shell body having this experience to learn and grow, and that the pain factor here that we experience on this very dense planet really does help us grow and expand. And I've noticed in my life, it's like waves. It's like when things are very good and kind of easy, and then things will just all go crazy in one, all at the same time, and then things will come down, and then I'll totally expand more. It's like interesting. So I kind of just breathe through all the insanity and know that it's helping me grow in some way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny because I had a story of a few months back. I had been invited to speak at one of the wellness expos locally here, and I was so excited for a couple of months, and I was like, it was just such an amazing opportunity that I thought, and I was like, I can't wait. And I get there, and the PA is broken.
Oh,
So I had to do it like without a PA,
with your voice,
with just my voice. And
the
and
singer.
you know what? I did it, and the whole point of the story is I loved the adversity of it. I felt like this is out of my comfort zone. I had to step right in and do it and speak to people and address them and almost like really be more personal with them, you know, on that level. And it was such a great experience. It was amazing, you know.
And as the singer, I'm thinking, oh, you had to probably project your voice louder, which made your
Absolutely.
body vibrate. And how did that make you feel?
There you go. Absolutely. Amazing. And
That
that's
sounds healing.
so, yeah, that's so relevant to tonight's episode. I'm so happy that I told that story. It's so true. You know what I mean? And even, and we'll talk about this, you know, the idea of, and God said, let there be light. And the idea that he said it, and it was the words that transformed into it. And we'll talk about that. But there's a second part of my question that I like to ask that will also kind of bring us to who you are today and all of that stuff we were talking about. And that is, if you have a memory of or specific memory or a specific moment that suddenly it became clear to you that, you know, you were kind of not taught all there is, and that there was more to existence that you already knew, that you remembered. When was the first memory that you have?
There were many things that happened to me as a child that I didn't understand, that were like me picking up on people or intuitively. I was a very empathic child and sensitive, but I do remember I have a few stories in college that blew my mind, but I guess there's one with my mother where I was saying a prayer in my college dorm, and I felt my mom so deeply. I called her and I said, I was just thinking of you while I was praying. And she said, I was praying, and I said to God, I will always be by your side. And I remember like chills went up my body, and I was like, two people just connected in the ethers, and I know we're related, but that through that just made me be like, wow.
Yeah.
So that was one thing with my mom. And then I just kept having the 9/11 thing really freaked me out. I kept having dreams of like me swimming away from that, like the south end of Manhattan. And I went to NYU to School of the Arts, and I kept looking at the towers. I would take pictures of the towers. I was like obsessed with it. I was like, why am I drawn to this? So one day I went down to the towers, and I felt the coldest evil chill through my body. I literally ran down the street and ran away.
This was before 9/11?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I couldn't go near the buildings. Like I didn't understand all these dreams I was having of the fires and people swimming in the water away from the bottom of Lake Manhattan. I just didn't understand what it was. That kind of freaked me out, because I know when it happened, I put two and two together, and I was like, maybe I was picking up on the possibility of that happening, because things could change. There's free will. People could make different decisions, and that could have been prevented, or a different timeline, or who knows, a different outcome.
Right.
When that happened, not only was it emotionally just horrific for me to watch that whole thing unfold, and live right there to see the smoke in the sky and see all the silence in the sky, and then the F-14s and all the people I knew, like that had firemen, sons, daughters, men, like the whole community had people there. Yeah, I guess that was like, that kind of blew my mind, that I had those kind of prophetic dreams about that.
That's pretty heavy. Yeah.
It was really heavy. And things happened like that, similar things to me, like as growing up. And that's why recently I kind of studied with some mentors to develop or understand some of the intuitive skills that I have, I always utilize them in my Reiki practice with my
Mhm.
clients.
Mhm.
I would have like dreams or prophetic visions during the Reiki session, or I could put my hands on someone and,
Mhm.
know they were pregnant, or give them messages from their loved ones that have passed on. And I just rolled with it. And it didn't really happen as often in real life as it did with the clients. So I always wondered why that was. I think because when I'm in this relaxed meditative state, that kind of calmed me down and grounded me. And then
Yeah.
when you're deeply grounded, then you can like kind of open up and shoot up and connect with
Wow.
the consciousness around you more. So that's what I realized. So now I can turn it on and off, because now I go down the street and it's too overwhelming sometimes,
Wow.
the messages. So I just have to be like, I'm off now. Only
Wow.
for emergencies, please. It's like,
Yeah.
but
No,
I'm
that
very grateful, because it could be overwhelming if you have certain gifts that you don't
yeah.
understand.
Yeah. I've heard that before, and it's interesting. I just want to acknowledge, I didn't see a Ninja Kitty says, welcome, Tab. That's my daughter's name. And also Janice is here, the quiet healer, who I was actually just going to mention, because Janice is my partner, who's also a Reiki master. And it was really the first time that I'd ever heard this for me, but also gets messages through her Reiki. And I just found it very interesting when you started describing it, because I do feel like everybody kind of has their own connection, and that's what I was saying earlier. And it's interesting that the way you said it, like you're grounding yourself, you're putting yourself in this space to do the Reiki, and that was what kind of opens you up to the channeling to allow those messages to come through.
That's what I think about it now. While I was doing it for like the last 13 years, I thought that's what everyone did in Reiki. Like
Wow.
I didn't realize, like I studied with Laura and Teresa of the Long Island Healing Arts and Learning Center. And I thought that's what everybody did during their sessions. And then once I talked to them more, and studied more with them, I would like run things by them, and
Right.
they'd be like, that's a whole different session, that's a different, like you could just do that separate from Reiki.
Yeah.
They do classic Reiki, pure Reiki.
Right.
And yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I think again, I think, I don't remember if we were saying it on the show or before the show we were talking, and I was saying how a lot of the people I was meeting with these different metaphysical modalities and different gifts, there's a similar vibration, right? But there is so many different ways, and again, I don't personally do any of those things, although I feel like if I wanted to, if I was being called, I would probably take an intuitive development class. I'm curious as to who you're taking classes with. I see you working with Alicia Munyan.
She's awesome.
Who is amazing. We've had her on the show a couple of times. And I don't know if you work with Lynn as well, who she works with. But just, it's amazing for me, I love the opportunity to talk to people like yourself and like Alicia and like Lynn, who just really are so connected to their own connection, right? They're connected to their own connection, and that, I think, is kind of what you were saying, where the channel opens up and you're able to even amplify the things that are coming through and focus in and understand more how they're coming in.
Everybody has gifts, and everybody has something important to do. Like you're doing different things than me, but it's all part of the whole.
Exactly.
But I do think that, if anyone who's listening wants to develop anything, it kind of starts with like your best sense. So like, if you have a hunch and you want to go left, but everyone's going right, that could be a hint. That could be the beginning of intuition. Like it could be as simple as that. And then trusting is really the next step. You have to trust yourself, and then you have to practice, and it just snowballs after that. So like the automatic writing is a technique, or meditating. And the funniest thing is, when I started studying, I would always receive messages, and my teacher was like, do you ask questions back? And I'm like, we can do that. I was just thinking it was a one-way message line. I was like, you mean I can ask a question and get an answer back?
That's great.
So that blew my mind, and that is a little more challenging for me. It's something I'm working on. It's really all about trust and opening up. So
absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and I definitely see that again, talking to the different channelers and the people that I talk to, kind of even trance channelers, you know, when they go into that trance, like there, you can see that there's just this authentic trust. They just kind of let go, and whatever is happening is happening.
I love all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, me too. It's great, and I love. We were talking about this earlier too. I love when people ask me like, "Is this real? Is this real?" And I'm like, I believe, you know, and certain things resonate with me. You know what I mean? And not everything resonates with me, you know, but I certainly can't deny someone else's experience. I have enough experience to know that the things that resonate with me might not resonate with someone else. They would think I'm crazy. So how can I think someone else is crazy if that's what they're telling me they're experiencing?
I'm kind of lucky. All my friends are open.
Accepting. So
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because when we met, you were a singer in a band, and kind of not necessarily expressing spiritual connection, right? I mean,
not publicly. I was a Reiki Master then, treating clients, doing meditations.
That's what I was going to ask you. So
I was doing that privately, and then singing in the cover bands again to warm up my voice.
But I think even that, I mean, I just, as a musician myself, I know, and I didn't know when I was 20 years old doing it, but I know playing music, especially with other musicians, is a form of channeling. It's
absolutely
like a collective, you know, form of channeling, and even singing and performing, right?
Yep.
You're channeling energy, you know, and projecting it out and delivering it to whoever's out there who's going to receive it, right? I think that's a big part of channeling that doesn't get talked about. Is it's mostly like, oh, the channeler, this energy is coming through, but the energy is coming through to be received.
And it's funny you said that. That might be like a little universe confirmation for me, because just in the last year or two, I realized, since I've been singing so young professionally, like I was singing professionally in elementary school, high school, and I just was so deeply attracted to the energy that happens when I would use natural gifts of my voice to affect the audience in a beautiful way. And it was like this symbiotic kind of experience where we lifted the frequency of the room together, and I saw smiles, or I don't know, it was just so magical. And then throughout the years of all the other things I did, like I really realized music, I was channeling, I was healing. And then I realized, well, I always didn't understand my life path. It was so scattered. I would try this, I try that, try this, try that. But the main base of it all was art, music, energy, and sound. So then I was like, well, that makes sense. So I really agree with you.
So tell me about that. You were, I mean, that was like on the side, right? You were singing in a band on the side. You were doing Reiki professionally. That was your full time?
That was my main job.
Okay, awesome. Wow. So
I incorporated in 2012 after the 2012 or 13. I incorporated, and
that's awesome.
I started studying a little bit before that.
So you're definitely a bit ahead of the curve, right? You're not jumping in on this.
I thought I was late, because a lot of people that I was following around the time, I don't know, it's all meant to be.
Yeah.
Whatever my path was.
It's amazing. Where I was actually Janice and I were watching, oh my God, now I forget her name. We're watching the show on Netflix about channeling, and there was this woman in the 70s who was doing it. Her name escapes me.
I know who you're talking about. She was the classic one with the Ra. She channeled the Ra or something. The Book of Ra.
No, it's oh my goodness, I should have looked this up beforehand. I didn't know we were going to talk about this. Regardless, it was just that it's on video, it's on film, it's like black.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
And it's
does anyone know in the chat that's listening?
Janice, what's the name? It's like Sal or Saul or the guy. It's like a guy's name that she's
Seth.
There it is.
Seth.
That's
Thank
it.
you. See, it's a little late for me, so thank you for helping me.
He came through. He came through. He helped
It
us.
was Seth. Yes, that was the coolest
Um,
thing.
but I'm like, wow, look at this. This is like, it was very validating to me, because I could remember probably, let's say 10 years ago, somebody showing me on YouTube some channelers who were talking about the Galactic Council and, all of these things. And I was like, this is a little much for me. Like, I don't
That's okay.
like cool, like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna bother them, whatever, they could do what they want, but it was just a little bit much for me. And then I don't know if you know Sarah Curley,
Love her.
but
I had her on my podcast.
she is phenomenal and changed my whole, there's a couple of key people, right, who just changed my perception about specific specific modalities, and Sarah definitely changed my mind about channeling, because when Stephen Durante was having he was doing these workshops, he was having her come, he's like, hey, you got to check out this woman, here's a video. And I watched her video and I had an emotional response. I was like bawling, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And then I went to the night that she was there, and it happened again. And it was just, I guess I was going to say that earlier, like there's an aspect to spirituality that I think cannot be described in words. It's a feeling. It's just the way that it touches you, that you are like, I know I'm feeling this right now. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, I know I'm feeling it. So
Sarah too was really amazing to watch grow, because in the beginning it was words and then it was sound, and now she's using hand, sound, words, voice, singing. It's so cool to watch. So
yeah,
it was interesting to watch how she's developing too.
Amazing. And I think I want to talk about you and how you got into sound healing and what you do, and I'd love you to explain that all, like what it even is. But I know what it is, and I love watching it, like you said, and I see it developing. I see that people are now singing along to things, just using their voice as like an instrument, and just kind of going up and down and just making frequencies. So why don't we start at the beginning? What is sound healing, and how did you come into it?
So I guess because of my past history with singing professionally, and then also the Reiki, I had music and energy in my life. And then I got into like holistic health and wellness. And then I was down in that rabbit hole, and it was like the whole world opens up. And I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about, but you just learn one thing after another, and you're like, oh. And then, so that was an amazing journey. And I guess when I started to dive deep into sound healing was I always used my voice and like tuning forks in Reiki.
Okay.
But during lockdown, during the pandemic, I was so excited because I had time to do everything I wanted to catch up on. I was able to record a meditation album, record original music. Like I took like 2 years worth of college courses about sound healing from all the top leaders that happened to be home doing virtual classes. Like I just lucked out. So
nice.
I deeply studied, and then I went all in and I bought every single instrument from like the top people from all over the world. Like my gong is from like Italy, made in a cave. I mean, my Tibetan bowls were made by a monk. And I got like the best quality instruments. I was like, I'm all in. And I was so grateful to be able to have the time to study about the sound, because it made sense to me to combine sound and energy and frequency. And my whole mission was to expand consciousness and help people live, lives with more joy and be more grounded and, expand their consciousness. And I think that's really important. Like, it's not about religion. It's really just about energy and realizing that, like, I want to rewrite everything that the kids in school are learning. I think we should add some things in that curriculum. And even just like they should learn how to balance a checkbook and learn how to communicate with people at the least,
Sure.
and then learn about consciousness. But like, X-Men would be like the school I would want to go to,
Yeah,
that
totally.
would be my school in the future, next life.
Totally.
But sound healing is really important to me because I believe it's the healing of the future. And now they're like killing C cells. I'm not going to say it. We're on YouTube, right? We're killing C cells with certain frequencies. Like now the science is catching up to this. The science of sound is now here, and we're
Yeah.
understanding what it does to the human body. And I guess our bodies are made up of water. And when we see the way sound vibrations affect water, it makes sense. That's like the basic, how you can understand it. But I really dove into using different rhythms, tones, tunings, drones, and rhythmic patterns, and different instruments that represent different things. And I intuitively would know what to use on the client in the session. So as I was training, I started integrating certain instruments into the session. And then when I was done with the training and the pandemic was over, I continued like little master classes and things, workshops when I could. But then I started doing sound baths, group sound baths. And during that whole time, I would always, sneak in sound frequency healing and all of the meditations that I produce and record and release professionally now. So I feel a little sneaky about that, but I like it.
I know I think that's
kind of like sneaking in all the solfeggio tones and healing sound. Like even in my contemporary original music, like I started writing one of the songs on my Rav Vast drum, which is kind of like a handpan.
Oh wow.
So like it's just been so fun to trust myself and not like criticize myself too. I think I was like my worst enemy for a while, thinking like, because I was studying with such amazing people, I kind of had to trust myself and be like, yeah, well, what I share is unique and different, and I can't compare myself to anyone else. And for a while, I was a little shy with like singing and playing the harp because I just recently picked that up. And it was like my favorite instrument because the harp is like laying on my chest and healing me. And like I feel angels all around me when I'm playing it.
Wow.
And from a musical standpoint, it's kind of a lot easier than guitar because like it's just changing levers for keys and just it's easier to play.
Really?
And for me, it was it just like I picked up on it so quickly.
That's interesting to hear.
Yeah, like I was like I could play like Let It Be in like a day from my teacher because I could like it was easier on my fingers. It just made sense for me. So I was having a lot of fun. And I guess the point of that is like I want a message to get out to everybody that, if you learn something that intrigues you and you're passionate about, don't be shy with it and let your soul shine because you can't compare yourself to other people and think, oh, well, this harpist went to Juilliard and I can't sing and play harp on YouTube yet.
Right. No, and I was going to ask you. So you said you're learning from some of the masters, some people who really know the ins and outs of sound healing, right? But that's like a traditional foundation, right?
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing, like in this conversation, when I'm feeling intuitively kind of from you, is like there were certain things that you were taught that you were like, but what if you did this and changed it a little bit and like kind of like you're saying added your own thing into it? And I think just kind of processing the thought, like I feel like that should be happening all the time, right? These techniques, like certainly there's the basic technique of playing a frequency and just kind of bathing someone in that frequency and allowing them to breathe and relax to it. But maybe adding in some drum beats or doing some certain things might change the heartbeat or like affect them in a certain way. And I think that that should always be, I think, like you said, like almost intuitive, like, well, I feel like this, and not every musician is the same, right? Not everybody plays or hears the same song, right? That's what's so beautiful, I think, about music is like everybody's kind of relates to a different frequency. I try to use that as an example of tuning in to frequencies and vibrations in general, right? Like music is vibrations. Not everybody likes the same music, It's
interesting. Some people love the crystal bowls and other people don't like the crystal bowls. They like the Tibetan bowls. Like And that makes me wonder why. Like, is their frequency different? Is it hitting something in their body at a cellular level that's triggering some emotion? So like, it's like a serious responsibility to be aware of everybody that you're in the room with. So I'm a little, I feel everybody in the room during a sound bath because I'm empathic, so I'm a little distracted. But that would be my only challenge during my sound baths.
No, but I think that, and that's
But I want to
probably,
make sure everyone's okay and comfortable.
and that's probably why you're in that role, right? Is because you're aware that, okay, it's not just do this and everybody's going to feel great. People are going to respond differently to it, and I could certainly understand that. I know for me, when I hear crystal bowls, I just feel like the sound is coming from inside of me. Like it's just. I remember the first time I experienced it, I was just like, "What's going on here?" Crazy. But I'm curious about, I guess, specifically the way you do it. So like, can you take me through a sound healing as far as like, what's the first part of the process?
In a group or a private session?
A one-on-one. Let's say we're doing a one-on-one.
Yeah, it's totally different. So one-on-one, what I do is I do a half an hour of Reiki and a half an hour of sound healing. And sometimes I do sound healing first and then Reiki. I go with the client and what they need. Sometimes I'll do a little sound healing, then Reiki, and then end with sound healing. It really depends on the intention of the session and what the goal is. And but there's always a chalice. My crystal chalice seems to just melts everyone's nervous system, and they melt on my bed and their brain shuts off like right away. And I do my big frame drum. So I always do the frame drum for the rhythm. It gets their minds in a trance and helps them kind of be present in the moment. And then I go into like more of a drone sounds with the crystal bowl. And my crystal alchemy bowl, that chalice is insane. It's gold and it's
so I'm not familiar.
You want to see it?
Yeah. What is the chalice?
So crazy.
Oh, it's actually a chalice. Wow.
I have all these instruments and I use different ones in each session, but I open every session with this and the frame drum.
Okay. And that is similar to I can see it's similar to a bowl.
Yeah. It's just cool because I can ding it and then I can play it over their body like this.
Wow.
And they feel the vibration pierce through their body very close. So it kind of like releases all the negative energy or pushes out what doesn't serve them. And then I could do rhythm patterns and tap it, or I could wave it. Oh, sorry.
No, I was actually going to ask you, can you play?
I didn't know. I don't have like my good mic set up in my audio interface. Did that sound okay, or was there feedback?
No feedback. Beautiful.
So you can like play like this, and then you can, so there's ways of playing it. This bottom part also can go right on every chakra on the body, and then they feel it on their body direct, and then waving this over their body. So I have all these fun tools.
Yeah. I'm very curious.
Kind of like makes it fun for me. I like look forward to every session because I never really know what's going to happen. Someone will come in and I feel like they're just so shot and they tell me what they want their intention to be. And then I instantly know what instruments to pull out and in what order to do it. And I kind of channel, like it's channeled, and I follow my guides and everything and my instincts. And but there's a very gentle part of it where I do Reiki, but there's always instruments. And then the end is always Koshi chimes because they just sound so pretty. You guys know what Koshi chimes are?
No, let's hear them. We're getting a treat today. I love that chalice. It looks like Atari Adventure. The chalice.
So at the very end of a session, I either break out my harp and I sing a healing song because it's kind of a nice intimate moment to wake them up, or I'll use the ravastrum or something melodic, guitar, harp, or the ravastrum, something melodic. And then at the very end, we do this.
Oh, nice. I love that.
So relaxing, and it just, then I can meditate. I can hold this and it makes pretty sounds. And then I could also walk them out of like a ending meditation if I have to, or it's just silence depending on what they need. And then I could do the ending prayer or seal the session.
Yeah.
And
What is that name of that instrument?
this is the Koshi chime.
Koshi chime. It's got a couple of different feelings for me. At first, it feels a little bit like a wind chime, right? Immediately, I feel like I'm in a nice breeze, you know. I'm like, and then it also kind of sounds a little bit like a baby toy,
or like a magical fairy.
Yeah, I love it.
It reminds me of fairies.
Yeah.
I have like everyone in every key signature. So
that's cool.
And one in each, like there's earth, air, fire, and water.
Right.
So depending on what I'm doing, I grab the one I want to have. But I think sound healing's awesome because I feel like the benefits are so effective and it's natural and it's really affecting cells and it's affecting the nervous system, and it gets the people into a state of mind where their bodies can heal themselves. And that's why I love it, because if your body is relaxed, and you can do this with Reiki or sound healing or anything, energy really, or vibration, then if they're in a state where they're relaxed and deeply in a trance, then their bodies can heal. Right. But I really think adding the instruments to my practice and everything I'm doing has really elevated and made it a lot more fun, because I'm also using my voice. Sometimes I'll tone over people. I use this giant frame drum and as an amplifier. So it's this giant, it's a natural amplifier. So I hold it, it's gigantic. And I sing into it, or I'll tone, and it echoes so far, and then I could play it. So like really, that's cool. You know, that I've been having a lot of fun with, because I love to sing, and exploring that part of the healing in groups or in private sessions has been a lot of fun to use the voice. Right. And trusting myself to just like let it be what it is.
There you go. Absolutely. Listen, that's the key right there, right? It's the challenge is becoming yourself, allowing yourself to become yourself. Definitely. And it is challenging. It sounds simple, but it's not. I mean, listen, just being happy sounds simple, but so many people struggle with it. And I love the mission that you're on. It's kind of the same mission I'm on, right? Is to explain to people like it's not as difficult as you're making it out to be. That's the first thing that will help you, right? Is to like just relax, take a deep breath, connect with your breath. That meditation, that's a big step for a lot of people, you know, because I mean, if you go into a room, not you or me, because the room we go into is going to be different than the room most people go into. But if you go in a room and say, how many people here meditate? You know, only a couple of people are going to say they can. And I think mostly when I talk about meditation, people are like, oh, I can't meditate. I can't shut my mind off. You know, I can't.
It has like a stigma where people think it's difficult. And that's why a lot of the time I make 5-minute meditations or 10-minute meditations and keep it short and sweet, because I want people to start to realize, like, I give people guided meditations or instrumental meditations or sound healing meditations, so they could choose which one they like better. It's been quite a journey. I had one of my clients actually teach me how to use Tibetan bowls on the body. She took a class actually, and so like it's been so fun and a mutual learning experience with everyone that I encounter. And have you ever been to a sound bath?
I've been to some, I don't know if it was, they called it I've been to Stephen Durante and Charlie's sound healings at the center in Smithtown. But and then I've also, I mean, I've experienced different things with sound, but that was going to be my next question, is like, when can I come experience a Tabytha Polaris event?
Well, everything is on my website, tabythapolaris.com, and I spell my first name with a Y.
Let me pop that up here.
And next Friday, I'll be in Garden City doing a sound bath at Samudra Yoga in Garden City on the 20th of September at 7:30. and that usually sells out. So if you want to come, buy tickets a couple days before the event. And then the following Friday, the 27th, I'll be in Plainview singing cover songs at Salute, which is a different form of healing that I do. I lift people up with fun contemporary songs, and I take requests.
Nice.
So it's always fun. So I just try to keep, busy and getting out there. And
well, that's what, I mean, that sounds awesome. I mean, if you're saying your sound healings are selling out, I mean, it seems like people know who you are. People trust you.
Yeah.
If you, whether you trust yourself or not, people are trusting you. So I hope that helps you trust yourself. I mean, I know you do trust yourself.
Yeah.
But I mean, so, and
I didn't tell you I went to Costa Rica.
Oh, tell me.
I went to Costa Rica with Alicia and on her higher self retreat. And yeah, that was amazing. And I hired her after to guide me a little bit with the business, and we moved my website to a different platform, and she's been amazing. And I think going to Costa Rica was one of the things I always wanted to do, was to swim in a waterfall and take like a goddess photo shoot, because I feel like I've had such a deep spiritual journey, and oh man, it's been ups and downs and all this stuff. And I kept seeing visions of myself in Costa Rica in a waterfall, in a photo shoot. And then she announced that trip, and I saw it online, and I go, you had me at waterfall. And then I had no idea that there was actually like a business class attached to it. So that was kind of life-changing. It filled in all the blanks for me.
That's great.
That was really fun. But I think there was like some crazy portal energy in Costa Rica. I came back like feeling so fabulous.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think also, I mean, I don't know really how to say this. I mean, I think there are certain people that have kind of, like I said, tapped into their own ability to transmute the energy and the message, and to help people attain their higher selves. There's a lot of, it's a weird community, right? Because there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, I'm a healer, and everybody's out there trying to do it. But there's a few people, I think, who can put their money where their mouth is and have affected. I mean, I've seen how many people Alicia has affected, and in a pretty short time, only a couple of years, since I mean, I can remember when she first met Lynn and started working with Lynn, and
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, all the people, and even I mean, I feel like I'm still, I don't want to use it's so important when I say the words, what words I use, right? And where I'm at in my journey. But like, I can just remember the first time I had a conversation with Lynn. It was over text. Somebody said, oh, you have to meet Lynn. And I texted her. I said, hey, Lynn, how you doing? My name's Michael. I was told I should meet you. She's like, oh, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm not really a light worker per se. And I remember this conversation so clear because I got chills. She's like, I don't believe that. And I was like, ooh, what is that? Like, I got chills over text. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't believe that? And we talked a little further, and I said, well, I'm a photographer. And she said, photographers work with light. And I was like, oh, I just got chills again. I was just like, oh my God, what's going on here? This woman is like, so
there's some type of community going on in Suffolk County that I am amazed to watch, and I'm friends with some of you, but I'm in Nassau County. I'm kind of like a loner, and I have a hard time getting to the events because I have so many things going on, but it's been amazing to watch. Don't you agree? There's been like this Suffolk County like emergence of more and more people kind of doing the work.
Absolutely.
It's been so exciting to watch.
I'm so grateful to be kind of connected to so many people, on the scene. I mean, I can remember, 10 years ago, I don't know if you know Anna Miranda, working with these people, and it's really actually funny because I did a video with Anna, with Steve Interante, with Sarah Curley, And I posed the question to them, what is consciousness? And I had them answer it in a video.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
this was way
How
before
did I miss that video?
way before this show even started, and it came back around to, wait a second, that's what I want to do. I want to ask a psychic medium, what is consciousness? I want to ask an Akashic records reader, what is consciousness? I want to ask a musician, what is consciousness? You know what I mean? And it's just been such a great journey for me. Yeah, it's just been amazing
because it's different in every application. Like I would say my consciousness is more aware when I'm singing, but there's this other button that opens up behind my head and I have this like stream. I like now I can see it, but before I didn't see it. And I always wondered, like, when I write a song, where does that come from? Like, is that me? Is that me tapping into muse? Like someone else could have the same idea and just get there before me. Like I always wonder about that. Or is there some like magical fairy, like little guide up there feeding me things? Like what is that when I'm in the shower and water is hitting me for some reason? I get downloads and like psychic messages or full songs or in dreams or the shower. That's when they come.
Wow.
And I don't understand that, but then when you're doing the work with the sound healing, it's you're not as deep because you have to be aware of what notes you're playing and what instruments you play together because they're different keys if you want to do certain things. And you have to be aware of like not making loud noises or hitting something. So that's like less deep of a consciousness. It's more like a flow.
Right.
And then in Reiki, like you just go, you ground yourself and then you just go off. You're like somewhere else. So with you, when you do your photography or when you do this show, do you feel the difference between the types of consciousness that you are in when you're
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly like, you know, I'm here, I'm focused, I'm in this moment, you know, very intentionally in this moment, you know. So there's, yeah, I mean, I could certainly feel, I wish I could, and I guess I could. And again, see, I say words and I'm like, oh, you said this word, now it's out there. I could. I've been thinking about it, doing more nights a week. You know, I do the show once a week, and it's like sometimes I'll meet someone and I want to get them on the show, and it's like, oh, I'm booking now for October, and I don't get to speak to them for weeks. You know, so I've been thinking about maybe doing this more, or you know, I'm figuring it out right
no,
now.
that's awesome. And there's you can change your mind at any time.
Yeah.
Do you do meditative photography or anything like that for fun?
Interesting question. I don't really know what I would consider meditative photography, though I have, you know, when I do my projector photography, I think it's there's a focus to it, right? Because I'm trying to get the projection to look exactly right on the person, and just kind of, I'm just tuned into that moment, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? I'm just going with what's coming through, you know. So I mean, I guess I'll say yes. You know, I do. But like, you know, I'm on that journey too, right? Like bringing it all together, you know, making all these wonderful realizations about, you know, oh, when I studied 3D graphics back then, and then when I did this, and now I'm putting it together and doing this, you know. It's like using all of the different things along the way that make you who you are. And like you said, it's very important. And I know this is a big philosophy out there in the spiritual community, is like, does it feel right? Does it excite you? Like that is your purpose, right? When everyone says, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is you. You are your own meaning of your own life. You know, whatever you're supposed to do. So yes, I know for me, music has always been something that, you know, I feel I'm in a different vibration when I'm doing it. You know, when I've had, like, I remember my stepdad came to see me play in a band one time, and he was like, who is that guy up there? You know, like he saw a different vibration, you know, smiling and just being in that moment. And not that I'm not a happy guy outside of that, but he just saw the elevated vibration, you know, of what was going on. So, and now I forget how I even got here in the conversation. That's what always happens.
I think I might have asked you a question.
We go off in a tangent. That's all right. No, I appreciate it.
I was curious. It's been a while, because it, you know, when I met you, you were taking like I don't know, we were both doing different things, and it was like more in the rock scene kind of art
Mhm.
world. And now look at us.
Yeah, I was doing probably Women of Armageddon, the Women of
You were
Armageddon.
doing some provocative
Yeah,
photos of women,
yeah, yeah.
which I'm okay with. That was like your
Well,
art.
I think you know what, I think uh, uh, I'm definitely intrigued by the divine feminine, right?
Yeah.
And you know, even as you're talking about singing and voice, it's like I totally resonate with the female voice, like just singing melodies and not necessarily song, you know what I mean, but just connecting. And it always makes me feel like my mom, like, you know, like I'm
Mm.
a baby in my mom's arms and she's just
Aw.
rocking me and singing to me, you know. It's always, that's the vibe I get when I hear any sort of, you know, a lot of Middle Eastern music. They have the female vocal kind of, oh, you know, over it.
Yeah, it's
It's just,
amazing.
it's
All those.
beautiful. It's
When I close my eyes at night, I kind of can see like my higher self, and
Mhm,
it's definitely like a warrior, priestess, goddess, like full on.
mhm,
um Sometimes I ride, a unicorn in meditation. I always wondered what that was. I was like, why does my meditation always go to me riding a unicorn,
mhm,
either through like the universe and the stars? And it might just be because I love unicorns.
mhm,
And it helps relax me. And then during when like the world got pretty dense and dark, and there was some things started going crazy, I found myself on a dragon with a silver sword of light
oh
in my
wow.
dreams, and it changed.
Uh-huh.
And I think I was fighting at night,
Hmm.
like in the spiritual realm. And then I would wake up really tired, and my mentor would be like, maybe you should ask not to wake up tired,
Mm,
because you still have work to do here. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm
right.
working at night, I'm working during the day, I'm working on all the realms. But who knows if that's true or not? But that was a possible experience I had. And then I was like, wow, I wonder if what are dreams? Are they fractions of memories? Does the brain just do things? Or are we tapping into other dimensions, or are we tapping into other aspects of ourselves? I have no idea, but it's pretty cool.
Or
And
all of the above, maybe.
all the whatever it is, but
Well,
I always
I
think
love,
about that.
yeah, I love the idea, and this is discussed in the spiritual community and multiverses and all this, is that like any thought that you have exists in its
Yeah,
in a universe, right? So the idea, and this is also very popular too, is the idea of these dragon and these fairy cultures that actually magic, right? These stories came from somewhere, right?
yeah.
And we just think they're stories and oh, it's fantasy, but you know, I feel like we're a lot more powerful beings than we think. And the same thing I was talking about, quantum, you know, quantum science, talking about how reality doesn't exist in a physical form, it's just in thoughts. Well, you just said it, like, are dreams real? Is that us going to another universe? I happen to think yes. And I like to think yes.
Me
uh,
too. It's more fun.
Definitely much more fun.
I agree. I'd rather think it. I rather believe yes.
Yeah, yeah. And
Honestly, when it happens to you, doesn't it feel so real?
it really does, absolutely. And sometimes more than others, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, spirituality, I think,
Oh,
is, it's a feeling, you know what I mean. So like you said, you wake up and you feel like you just were somewhere else. Did you
there's
gonna say something?
there's a woman named Penny Kelly who I studied with, and she keeps a dream journal. And
Mm,
there is another person kind of at her level that also keeps a dream journal, and at the end of the year they meet
mhm.
and they go over the dreams, and they go over the dream journal, and they actually have like a whole conference with each other, because they're the only two people on the planet that they know of that have the same experiences that they have. It's kind of cool.
And do their dreams correlate with each other, like over the
No, no,
year?
they don't, but they sometimes meditate on like the future, kind of like a look-see to see where the consciousness is going for humanity.
Mhm,
And then they share it with each other, and they have a mastermind group of people that are very like into helping the collective with their positive thoughts, I guess.
mhm, mhm,
Like either praying or shifting their thoughts, or shifting thinking about where they want the consciousness to go, or how the earth, and all the people in it and everything that's going on, the best possible outcome for all that's involved. So they kind of have like a workshop like that. But I do know that, man, there's like Elizabeth April can like astral project and things like that. You should have her on your show.
Well, I'm definitely gonna want to talk to you after the show and get some
Yeah,
suggestions.
I want you to have Billy Carson on.
I would love to have Billy Carson on. That would be amazing.
I could listen to him talk all day.
We just put it out into the universe, so that's the first step, right?
Yeah.
There you go. So we will definitely talk more about that. You're awesome to talk to. I'm so excited that we got to catch up. I told you we're going to look at the time. It's going to be 10 o'clock, and it's 10 o'clock. We have been talking for an hour, and I don't feel like we've even scratched the surface.
No, we have not.
I wanted to hear more different instruments, and I wanted to hear what they're used for.
What I can do is, if you want, excuse me, I can come back another time and set up my microphones and use my audio interface.
Yeah. There you go. There's the cough you were talking about earlier.
It's the allergies.
Yeah, you know what? That's great. And that's kind of, I have been doing that where like there's one episode of the show that's what is consciousness, and then there's another that's a specific topic. So we'll do a sound episode, and we'll get you to set up everything. So
because going down that rabbit hole when they change the tunings, makes me so angry. Well, there's lots of mischief.
We really didn't even scratch the surface of the idea of sound, and
we didn't. Next time I'll go deep in.
And mischief.
How is everyone that's here?
How is everybody? Tim and Elila, Ninja Kitty, Quiet Healer, those else out there. What's really cool about doing something like this, and you probably found this on your podcast too, is there are people who listen who just don't say anything, and then you'll meet them out in public and they'll be like, yeah, I watch your show, and I'll be like, you never say anything, I never know you're there, like, what do you mean you watch my show? But then they'll talk about something I did on the show, and I'm like, I guess you do watch my show. And so thank you for being there, and even not saying anything, whoever you are.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for being there. But Tabytha, thank you for coming on the show. We will definitely, I'm going to put you in the green room and sign off, but don't hang up, because I want to talk about another date with you, and some people that you think I should talk to, because I could talk about this stuff forever. I just love talking about it.
I held back. I didn't want to scare everyone off.
Well, next time you'll have to let loose. Ninja Kitty says, I love just listening to it. It's fascinating. And Ninja Kitty's been there since day one. So thank you, Lily. We were talking earlier today. Thank you also for what we were talking about. So when I started the show, I mentioned the rough week we went through. I stay away from politics as much as I possibly can. But after that debate, I just had I was getting triggered left and right by people. And really, I'm not endorsing either candidate, but just I was getting triggered by just the way people were just going at each other, and just it's like, come on, people,
Well, there's a divisiveness and a divide happening on purpose, which as beings of consciousness, we can't pay attention to that. And there's some people that kind of try to make other people aware of what's happening, and then you could be more powerful by doing it subtly with doing things like this to elevate people and wake them up. And when your frequency raises, your mind opens, and then you start seeing things for what they are.
Exactly right. Totally. And sometimes that even triggers people. What do you mean you're not into politics? Trigger.
I kind of stopped scrolling through social media, and I've deleted a lot of friends. Unfriends. Sorry.
And they're still your friends. You just don't have to watch.
Yeah, I just don't want to watch their posts.
Watch the gibberish.
Love you.
That's it. Love. It's all about love.
Yeah, I love them. Let them be them. I just don't want to see it. So
there you go. Before I put you in the green room, do you have any final words to my audience? Any words of advice, words of love, words, blessings? I don't know. Whatever you got.
Well, I just wanted to let everyone know that you can go to my website and grab the free 5-minute daily meditation. And it's just a beautiful guided meditation that I made with the sound healing backgrounds. And you could use it every day to start your day off right. So when you're feeling triggered, you could take a listen. And if you're interested in anything I do, contact me on my website. I'd love to get to know you. And I guess what my wish for everyone is that you stay grounded and connect to your breath, and that everything is joy and love. And when you're staying in that frequency, that is kind of like your sword of armor, your sword and your armor.
There you go.
Yeah.
And is that chalice nearby? Can you give us one more chime before you? Vibrato. You can hear it. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Tabytha, so much.
Thank you for having me. Thanks everyone who joins us.
We'll see you again soon, and let me say goodbye to everybody, and I will see you in a minute. Wow, awesome! Another great episode. I love that I do this. I love that I gave myself this job. I wish I would pay myself more, but I love that I gave myself this job. I love this job. Talking to people, sharing it with you guys. I love that you guys come back every week and share this with me, or tune into the archive and watch it. I really appreciate it. Next week, who do I've got next week? Let me just open up my calendar real quick here. I have, interesting. So talking about the presidential election, there are presidential candidates that we don't even hear about, and I have one of them coming on my show next week. David Ferdinand calls himself We. He's got some really interesting ideas, and I found him really interesting, and I thought he would make a good guest. So he's going to be on the show next week, and then after that, the following week, I believe. My calendar is not clicking up here for some reason. There it goes. The following week, I have Christine Fay. And also Grace Grella is going to be doing her show. She's coming back. So she does a show at 7 o'clock on Thursdays. That's going to be on the 26th. Grace Grella, as you know, amazing psychic medium. It's a call-in show, old school call-in psychic medium. So if you got any questions about your relationships, about your jobs, anything like that, check out the Grace Grella show. I do that with her once a month, the last Thursday of every month, and she is coming back in September. I am getting ready to play my outro. I will see you guys next week. Peace.
What is consciousness? The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question that has captivated human minds for centuries. Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides